Hello, I'm Rod Coburn, and I'm the District Governor of Rotary District 5230. And I'm delighted to be your host of this new monthly show, Adventures in Service. We're going to inform you about what Rotary is about, how we impact the lives of our community and communities throughout the world. We're going to learn how our adventures are changing people's lives, including our own. We hope that you will enjoy these Rotary endeavors, so let us begin.
Hello, my name is Celeste Barron. I will be taking you around what is new in our Rotary clubs and what they've done as far as projects and events. Here, we start with our district's newest club, Central California Passport Rotary Club. It was chartered on April 22nd by Rotary International. They held their charter party at Bitwise Industries on June 22nd, where Rotarians from all over the district visited to celebrate the new club. Past District Governor Monica Futrell attended the party and presented the club's president, Jenna Maciel, with the Rotary International Charter Certificate, along with a welcome letter from Rotary International President at the time, Barry Rassin. Also, our current District Governor, Rod Coburn, welcomed the new club to the district. The club thanks them, as well as the past District Governor, George Wade, Rotary International Public Image Coordinator, Ayub Mahmoud, and all other Rotarians who visited from many clubs around the district to welcome our new Rotarians. On June 6th, Fresno Economic Opportunities Commission launched their Food Express bus. In Fresno County, 1 in 3 kids suffers food insecurity, and in some neighborhoods, this number reaches 3 of 3 kids. So back in 2017, Fresno Economic Opportunities Commission, along with volunteers, piloted a mobile meal delivery system to take government's funded meals to children who lacked access to healthy food. With 3 pop-up mobile meal stops during the summer, 4,000 meals were served. Therefore, they figured that a mobile bus would streamline operations and allow us to serve healthy meals to more children. In 2018, the community joined forces to fund the purchase and retrofit a school bus. Healthy Food Superhero Art Contest was held, and community members helped us pick the winners. North Fresno Rotary used their Friends of Rotary District 5230 grant and was able to raise $8,500 for that project. With that, we end our news for today. If you are a Rotary Club in District 5230 and you have something going on that you would like to share with us, please let us know by sending an email to news@adventuresinservice.tv, and we will make sure to mention it. It was my pleasure, and we'll be back with Rod after the break.
Our guest today is Jenna Maciel, who is a retired photographer. She is the current president of the Central California Passport Rotary Club, and she, along with a couple of others, went 13 years ago to Guatemala to evaluate projects. So Jenna, welcome. We're happy to have you here. A couple of things just as background. Passport Rotary Club, that's kind of a new concept in Rotary.
Yes, it is. We're trying to identify a need in our Rotary world, which is that of people that can attend a weekly meeting. Maybe they're more millennial-minded and are very focused with their career, and they just can't do a weekly. So a Passport Club has a lower attendance requirement, but still has all the fundamentals and beliefs and foundations of a traditional Rotary Club.
Terrific. And so you're involved in projects along as a Rotary.
Yes.
So why did you join Rotary as a professional photographer?
I joined Rotary, I just heard rumor of Rotary and that they did a lot of service projects, both locally and abroad. And I turned 40 and I was comfortable in my life, and my children were grown, and I just really wanted to give back, and Rotary was the perfect format for me to do so.
And so how did Rotary play a role in you getting to Guatemala and starting this project?
Well, it kind of happened by accident. I was at a district conference, and they had shown a film on actually the wheelchair program, and I was very excited about that. So I ran back to my club afterwards and said, hey, let's do wheelchairs. I'd love to be involved. And they said, well, we've done wheelchairs for the last few years, so we're actually looking to do something different. And then I heard again through the district about a club that was finishing up a project in Guatemala. I didn't know anything about Guatemala at the time, other than I knew I was excited to go find out, go be there. So I called them and said, hey, can myself and a couple of other of our club members tag along on your trip and see the end of your project, and then maybe evaluate a future project for ourselves. They were working with a Peace Corps worker who had a friend also in the Peace Corps, and this friend couldn't get anyone out to her remote location, which is in Lanquin, which was about 8 hours drive from where the project was going on that Lemoore had. And so we went there at the end of Lemoore's project and fell in love. We all did, with the area, and the need was just great, and been going back ever since. I think I've been 23 times now.
That's outstanding. Now, Lanquin is a very small community.
Yeah, it's about 12,000 people.
And economically disadvantaged.
Oh, yeah. The average income, probably, if you want to equate it to the US dollar, $25 a month for a family.
So you assessed that there were multiple needs in that
Yes.
community prior to establishing your project.
Yes.
What is your project's name?
Well, there isn't really an official name other than Guatemala Scholarship Program.
Okay.
Because that is the heart of our projects. That's the one piece of the trip that is always the same, and that's the scholarship end. But we've also done other things along the way. We've had medical clinics, we've had a dental clinic, we've done nutrition projects, clean water, a variety. But the scholarship is the one that goes on every year. And it's important to me because I really believe in teaching a man to fish versus just feeding a man to fish.
So describe your scholarship project.
The children of Guatemala, the indigenous children, are only educated by their own government up to 6th grade. After that, they have to be self-funded. So we decided to start a program that would take them to the next level, which is called Básico, which is kind of like junior high. And then from there to Carrera, which is a combination of high school and junior college. So after attending Carrera, they can be a teacher or an administrator. And so that's what we began. It's been since 2007.
So what I heard you say was there was a whole lot of needs in the community, as
yes.
in Guatemala itself. How did you prioritize those needs into an action plan?
Well, if I understand your question, I believe that you're asking, how did I decide to go with scholarships? Or?
Right, as opposed to any other activity.
Well, we kind of did a lot of things, but again, that takes me back to, I just really feel that education is the way out. It's the way that they become better people, not just one person for one day, but that person for that day and the next day and for the rest of their life, their children, beyond them, their grandchildren. I mean, it's just a trickle-down effect with education. And personally, that was why I wanted to prioritize it. And also, it's one of Rotary's 5 areas of focus. I believe they agree with me,
Yes,
too.
they do,
So.
in fact. And we're very glad that you have promoted that project. You know, we get information about safety in Central America, South Central Mexico, America. Has that been ever an issue for you?
It's always, as a team leader, it's always an issue for us because our number one priority is safety of the travelers. So there has been a lot of research done to make sure that everything that we do is going to be safe. The way we transport, the way we stay in groups, the roads we take, and also not just for safety, but also everyone on board and their behavior that would be culturally correct to the environment, because it is not the same as it is here in the States. Certain behaviors that we do here are not accepted there. So everyone gets a little bit of training before they go, and so that everyone, including the project, is respected and safe.
So who gives you assistance in Guatemala?
There's an organization, it's a community organization. Lanking is made up of a lot of small little villages. They're called aldeas. And they each have a leader, basically, of their community. And so there's a group of them that have all come together and legalized in the eyes of Guatemala government, which is actually a big feat for them to do. It's very expensive and it's formal. It allows them to officially petition for assistance. And the way it makes it fair is because you may have, say, 15 communities, and you have a leader from each community representing his people, so that when it's decided which elementary school is going to receive the new desks, it's done in a way that is fair.
Very interesting.
Yeah,
and
we were
Rotary,
very lucky that they came upon us.
Rotary connects the world, and you were in the process of connecting our San Joaquin Valley with an area of Guatemala. Yeah. How was your funding provided?
Oh, well, that's always a tough one. Every year we have to generate funds. It comes from generous individuals as well as clubs, and for the last, I think, maybe 10 years, we have reached out to the district and received a district grant. Unfortunately, the area that we work at in Guatemala does not have a club nearby, so we can't do a international level grant, a global grant. So we have to stick with a district grant. But it's doable, and especially when you get more than one club involved, which has always been my goal, is to make this a project that is a district project and not just a single club's project, and involve many different clubs. And when you do that with the district grants especially, it only costs $500. If everyone went to their training, they'd know. But it costs $500, and the district matches it with $2,000. In Guatemala, that is a lot of money. We have actually built an entire classroom with $2,000 in Guatemala.
Terrific. That's outstanding. So personal expenses for you and those that
They're
travel
all
with
covered
you?
independently, although flights to Guatemala are a lot more reasonable than, say, some other flights that we might take. Flights to Africa can sometimes run up to $2,000, right. And in Guatemala, I think the most I've ever spent is $600, and sometimes as cheap as $250. Plus, while you're in country, it's very inexpensive. Our housing is maybe $10 a night, $15. It's not very glamorous. We don't stay in, 4-star hotels or anything like that. There's no air conditioning, a lot of bugs. We're in the jungle, but it's an adventure that you will never be the same when you come home. I mean, it is so special, and everyone that's traveled, and there's been probably more than 50 travelers in the last 13 years, 50 different Rotarians from all over the district, and every one of them have said how much they feel they changed just by going on that one trip.
So how many generally go with you on a trip? It
differs year to year. The smallest number I've ever had is 3, and the largest group, which actually was a little too big because it was like rounding cats, was 18. We had 18 Rotarians.
And so when you're on site, what are you doing?
It depends on the year. For example, the last trip that was taken where there was maybe 7 or 8 travelers, we followed up on our scholarship program, which means that we do interviews for the incoming students and we check on the current students. Plus, we did a dental clinic day. So there was actually for 2 days, and there was just lots and lots of pulling of teeth, which I'm sure you can relate to, having been a dentist for so many years.
So are they dentists that are coming down from the States, or are you working with?
No, they're dentists coming down from the States, Rotarians, actually. Yeah, we just grab volunteers. We kind of form our projects each year by who volunteers to go with us and where their specialty is, and then we go for it.
Well, the dentists have done a lot overseas and are doing a lot in California with their CDA cares. One of the issues that always seems to come up, which is a real boon to Rotary, is the charity Navigator. which rates nonprofit organizations, has given Rotary International its highest ratings because of its oversight of projects like this. How do you account for the funds and what, so that people know that if they donate to you, that they are getting a great bang for their buck? How do you account for all of that? And
Well, typically, with the exception of personal travelers, I personally tend to spend a lot of my own money just because it's my desire, and I don't make myself prove to myself. But with clubs, if they're part of the grant, there's a grant report, a final report that's given. And in addition to that, I come to the club and I give a report to the club, showing the images, showing the action of what it was that we were doing, whether it was a giveaway of school supplies to an elementary school, or if it was, something medical or clean water. And so there's full transparency with the way we report back to the people that donate.
so if someone is in a Rotary Club now as a Rotarian, or if they're a non-Rotarian and
Right.
they want to participate in the project, we'd love to have them become a Rotary member, whether it be with your Passport Club or with one of the more
Sure.
traditional clubs.
Yeah.
There are ways that people can then interact with you through the Rotary existing hierarchy of organizations to be able to get funds to you. Is that correct?
Absolutely correct.
Okay.
And not only, obviously, every project needs funds, but we're looking for people. We're looking for people that want to be involved at some level, all the way from traveling with us and having that experience to maybe helping to find, say, for example, if we were doing a dental day,
Right.
we typically give out lots of toothbrushes and toothpaste and things like that. So everyone should have a dentist and should
Yes.
have a resource to be able to, ask for a donation from them to pass on to us so that we can take down those items and distribute.
So what do you see as the future of your project and projects in Guatemala?
Well, I would hope that it would continue for many, many years. But as far as the project that we're doing now, but even if it stopped tomorrow, everything that we've done to this point, we have educated children in communities that never saw an Indigenous child pass 6th grade. And now they have a teacher. They have a female teacher, which is really unique if you know the history of Guatemala and how they treat boys differently from girls. But instead of them hearing from someone, oh, you can do it, they know they can because they see an actual person from their community that made it, that is now a teacher and is leading the way. So I feel like we've already succeeded. And I just wish to repeat that formula, for many years to come.
So it's an ongoing project to
Yes.
fully sustain the project in the community itself. Rotarians are people of action, and
Right.
clearly that's what you've done in this case. And Rotary also connects different parts of the world together, which you've connected the San Joaquin Valley with the rural community in Guatemala. In the process of all doing that, you must have had a real aha moment where you said, this is why I do what I do.
Oh, Rod, I have had so many aha moments. First thing I'd like to say is that I really am the lucky one. I'm lucky to have found Rotary, and I'm lucky to have been involved in a project like this because I have received so much more than I have ever given from it. But one particular memory I keep close to me is our first trip out there. It was myself and 2 other gentlemen, and we had gone to an elementary school that was located on the top of this old dormant volcano. And keep in mind, this is a subtropical environment with rainforest, and it was lots of rain, so steep hills, very slick. This school had about 250 students and no running water. So we were going to evaluate a water catch system with a giant 10,000 liter tank we were going to put in, and then water filters. So we had to actually, we wanted to go down and see where their water source was, because the parents of these children would actually, the mothers, would walk all the way down this very steep cliff side to this dirty river, get the water, and then haul it back up so that they could give the children their rice water, basically, for lunch. So we wanted to go down it. And I'm fairly active, and I was younger then. This was 13 years ago. But this was a very dangerous hill. It was very steep, it was very muddy, and there was nothing to hang on to. So as I was walking down, there were lots of children that were around us, but the female children were very, very shy, and they also stuck together in little groups. And so I didn't see the girls, because they were always off hiding somewhere. But the boys were kind of running around like it was no big deal to them, but I was going down, and I got to this one point where I thought, I could seriously injure myself at this point. I don't know how I'm going to get across. And then out of nowhere, I just felt these little tiny hands touch my hands, because the girls had been watching me, and they saw that I was at a point where I couldn't continue. And they just grabbed my arms and my hands, and they just held me down, helped me down that one spot that was so dangerous. And I made it to the bottom and back up again. But that just warmed my heart, and it just told me that even though we were big and scary to them, and they didn't know whether to trust us or not, you know, these are little innocent children that were being innocent children, and they were there to help me when I needed them. So I was definitely going to be helping them in return.
Children are children, no matter where they are.
Mm-hmm.
In a big mega sense, how have you seen changes in Guatemala in the 13 years that you've been going down there?
Wow. There's been huge changes in Guatemala. On our very first year that we were there, especially in our area, they had never seen any white people. There was no tourism, and we were very far off the beaten path. And that same trip where we went to the school, as myself, who was 5'8", and two other Rotarians, males that were 6'2" and 6'3", we had to hike in because it was being washed out with the rain. So we hiked in and came over this little peak to the school. The children saw us, and then they started screaming and running and saying something that we didn't know, because they speak K'chi'. They don't speak Spanish. They speak K'chi', which is an indigenous language. We found out later they were saying, "White giants, white giants." Oh. So anyhow, from that point where they hadn't even seen us to now, there was a consecutive project around the same time that I was there with the Peace Corps. And they were putting in these platforms, these walking platforms, into Sumac Champey, which is the eighth wonder of the world. It's a beautiful national park. Since that project was completed, more and more people have come into the area, and now there's lots of exposure. In addition to that, the country has established a tourist police system to encourage travelers to come in. And so they have an actual police, an area of their police whose whole job is to protect the tourists. They're actually called the tourist police. And since then, it's opened it up to many different Rotary clubs and many different countries and organizations, NGOs of all kinds, to come in, because it's much safer now that those police are out actually protecting all the tourists that are on those roads. So yeah, there's been a huge change in the last 13 years.
You know, it's interesting that you brought up water as a issue down there. Mm-hmm. Rotary has dealt internationally with water in other areas, with potable water, storing potable water, but it's also been within our own San Joaquin Valley in the East Porterville, which had a water problem, which became a cooperative effort of not only U.S. Rotary clubs in this valley, but also a club or district in India that participated with us as part of a project that we had done in their area in India.
Right.
So it's people coming together, connecting the world through
Isn't
Rotary.
that amazing?
It is. And in the long run, having peace and harmony in the world gets done because of personal interaction between those of us that go down there. Is there anything else that you would like to tell me about your experiences down there that I didn't ask you about?
Well, I definitely would just like to reiterate how thankful I am to be part of Rotary, and to mention to the clubs in the district, if they haven't found a home for their district grant, that I would be happy to assist them in how they can get involved with us, with a very small, amount of money from the club itself, only being $500.
Right.
So smaller clubs can get involved in an international project that maybe thought they couldn't because they're small and they have a small budget. Again, not just the money. We're looking for people. We're looking
Right.
for travelers, other Rotarians.
And Rotarians are people of action. So
Yeah.
for $500, not only does your club put in $500, and that gets multiplied by funds which are available to the Rotary District on a matching grant basis. Well, that was our main segment. Jenna, I am so pleased that you were here.
Oh, thank you.
It is such a pleasure to hear about a program like that. And we're going to take a short break, and we'll get back to you about some forthcoming events.
Hello, my name is Shelley, and I will be telling you about our club's upcoming events. Our first two events are held by the newly chartered Lindsay Foothill Rotary Club that is off to a quick start with two fundraisers scheduled for September and October. The first one is a margarita tasting and silent auction dinner on Saturday, September 14th at Lindsay Wellness Center from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Tickets are $40 per person. All proceeds will go towards Lindsay High School scholarships. The second one is a seafood boil and social on Saturday, October 26th at 1121 Maple Avenue, Lindsay, California, from 5 to 9 p.m. This event is a cooperation between Foothill Rotary of Lindsay and Lindsay Chamber of Commerce. Tickets are $35 a person. Sanger Rotary Club's annual barbecue, which will be held on September 15th from 4 to 8:30 p.m. in Kings River Winery. The last event I have for you is the 25th Annual Pacific Grove Rotary Concourse Auto Rally that will be held on Friday, August 16th. The auto rally is open to anyone who owns a classic or vintage car and would like to participate by showing their car in the afternoon, drive in a police-escorted rally at 5 p.m., and it ends with a barbecue dinner. For more information, go to topgrotary.org. That gets us to the end of our district events for today. If you are a club in our district that has an upcoming event that you would like for us to announce, please contact us at events@adventuresinservice.tv. I will leave you now to our District Governor, Rod.
Well, thank you for watching the premiere edition of Adventures in Service, profiles of people making a difference here and abroad. And so if you have any feedback or if you'd like to volunteer in our show, please feel free to contact us. Contact us at adventuresinservice.tv. Again, thank you, Jenna, for being here. You are the light. You have a great project, and we just so appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me.
Next month, we will do this again with another guest on a fascinating look at how and why Rotarians that enhance people's lives throughout the world.